You're about to be let in on the most highly classified data America holds.
It's for real, Frank. Crashed here in 1947, Roswell, New Mexico. That saucer is where the technology for this came from.
Imagine you could travel back in time and change history. 7 days. The adventure begins. Tuesday at 6 on BBC 2.
I'm just trying to get people to say this to camera. Oh, I see Patsy Palmer's.
Pardon me? Well, I've got to say you say.
Patsy Palmer's very stand.
Really stand.
Really stand. Patsy Palmer's really stand.
Born and bred, Patsy Palmer takes us on a tour of her very own East End.
We'll go down there now.
Find places to eat and party.
We all know what this is.
An insight into East End history and find out where the real Bianca spends all her time.
Patsy Palmer's really stand. What was it?
Tomorrow at 10:30.
Bbc choice.
Everybody's trying to talk about it.
When it comes to the one-to-one interview, Roy is the master.
I spend nearly all of my time subbing pieces that have come in and then setting the paper.
Right, by subbing you actually mean sub-editing.
Yes, I know that.
He's got intelligence, integrity,
perceptiveness.
To see one of his programmes is to be reminded why it is that you got into broadcasting in the first place.
Can you see my bra through this top?
Yes, it looks fine.
No!
He's got a wonderful knack of melting into the background.
Thanks for coming in this afternoon. Sorry about your weight.
Oh, no, that's just her trousers. Oh.
Roy Mallard is back.
I think the trick is to pretend he's not there.
Right. I'll try.
People Like Us in half an hour on BBC 2.
So don't miss that brand new series of Roy Mallard's People Like Us, this week discussing theology with a vicar. That's in half an hour here on BBC 2.
Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News for You in a week when our politicians have shown a sad lack of restraint. In the news this week, following Tony Blair's example, William Hague visits a nursery school in Leeds to explain Conservative education policy. In Antarctica, after being given a torch for his birthday, a drunken David Attenborough reveals a sadistic streak. And in central London, a mugger makes the mistake of pouncing on Madonna after she's been kept up all night by the baby. On Ian Hislop's team is a TV presenter who says his worst moment was vomiting out of a 14th floor hotel window, although worse for the bloke on the 13th floor looking up to see where the noise was coming from. Keith Chegwin.
Okay.
And with Paul Merton tonight, a former TV executive and current director of Camelot, so in the spirit of Camelot, we've decided not to pay him tonight, Michael Grave. Round one sees us right on the opening round front, both questions featuring a montage of this week's election news footage. Paul and Michael.
It's that moment that made you proud to be British. Here it comes.
Yeah.
Voila!
The Eric Cantona memorial blow.
Yeah. But it's our version of sort of Jack Ruby and Lee Harvey Oswald, isn't it? Where were you when Prescott lashed out? Great punch, I admired him greatly for doing that.
And where were you?
Where was I?
When he lashed out.
I've got an alibi, don't drag me into it. Yeah, there's a marvellous look on his face because he threw the egg and just started laughing and going like that because he didn't, you know, any other politician, probably in the history of politics, certainly in this country, would never have sort of like just turned around and gone wallop, you know. Someone at the back said, "Stop it, John, he's not worth it," but by then... Cover covered the ground well. 61-year-old punches his weight, wallop straight in.
I found this is absolutely true. I found this quote from an interview that Prescott did for The Guardian in 1994, and I'm absolutely quoting him verbatim. "Yes, I can get angry," says John Prescott, "and I often have more reason than most to do so because the machine tends to be working against me. I don't get a fair whack. I don't pursue vendettas or punch people on the nose," said John.
And what was Blair's reaction?
John will be John.
John is John, I think.
John is John.
Yeah.
Less word, fits in a headline.
Evermore shall be so, yeah.
Next week, Lennox Lewis versus Anne Widdecombe.
I know who my money would be on.
Well, on you. It wouldn't be on anywhere else. What do you mean your money?
And who else had a bad day apart from Prescott? Because it's
he
not
didn't have a
Prescott.
bad day. He had a fantastic day.
He won the fight.
The jury's still out on that, isn't it, really?
No, they're not.
No, there are no charges against either of them, actually. The whole thing's been dropped. If you charged the man throwing the egg, then you'd have to charge Prescott.
That's right.
So I think they're both being released and saying, fair fight, it was a draw. And Blair's saying, tough on Prescott, tough on the causes. It's going to be a bit of a problem, though, when we're talking about yob culture in the future, isn't it? You notice he led with the left. Very un-New Labour.
It's one of the most exciting things that's happened in politics in years.
What, someone hitting someone?
Yes, someone hitting someone.
Yes. So are we all in favour of John Prescott here?
No.
Yeah.
Right. Keith?
Yeah, I think...
No, I think he's a thug. I don't like the man.
He'd be very good on It's a Knockout.
He would, wouldn't he?
I was on Question Time with Prescott once, and the question was about boxing, and he was all in favour of it. And at the time, I agreed, which was lucky.
People probably sort of admire it in a way because he is a sort of like people sort of think that he's not being stage managed. He's an emotional man, and you know, okay, he lost control for that moment, but you know, I think some people sort of think that was showed a human side to him.
Yeah, and when his finger's on the nuclear trigger, it'll be great. Boom!
Nuclear war isn't going to be triggered by somebody throwing an egg.
So what were the pop stars doing in that bit of VT? Because they've had something to do with Labour this week.
Well,
Britney hit me one more time.
Hit me one more time is what Britney Spears hit. I'm not quite sure.
She sent a message of support to Alistair Campbell, the only one he's going to get.
And Jerry Halliwell was in the Party Political, I think.
She was.
She was playing the spoon in the cup of tea.
And do you know how she described the Spice Girls, at least, in 1997?
Thatcher's children, wasn't it?
That's right, true Thatcherites. Yeah.
Well, no wonder she supports Blair, then.
So, what was supposed to have been on the front pages when Prescott, in fact, got all the coverage?
The Labour manifesto. But it was a clever piece of work by the Labour spin doctors that they managed to keep their own manifesto out of the newspapers.
Well, he was just lucky with Prescott, because otherwise that woman in the NHS hospital would have been on the front page.
There you go.
And another member of the public coming up and saying, you're useless. And he would have gone boomf.
No, he'd have called John and said, get here right away. Yeah, no problem.
Bit of trouble, John. Pop over.
So this is round one of Labour's election battle with John Prescott to the fore. Speaking to a journalist in the bar at Real Theatre afterwards, John Prescott said, I was attacked by an individual and I clearly defended myself, adding, did you just spill my pint? After the Daily Star broke the story about Alistair Campbell's good luck message from Britney Spears, he chastised the paper, saying, I think Daily Star readers will be more interested in issues like economic stability and schools. Than showbiz gossip. Wrong on so many levels. According to their new manifesto, if Labour win the next election, the BBC will be given major funding increases. Not that, according to BBC sources, this will in any way affect output over the forthcoming weeks. Ian and Keith, your bandwagon.
Hey.
And for flying Fionn, there's his dad.
Oh,
Oliver Letwin.
Letwin.
And that one else. This is the others. This is the balance question put in by the BBC.
Yes, well, we have to.
Yes, they have to. The Tories got into trouble because that man, Oliver Letwin, who no one had heard of before, made a remark about tax and then disappeared. He said that there might be 20 billion tax cuts, which isn't in the Tory manifesto, and it was a bit of a giveaway. And the Labour Party put out a poster saying, does anyone know Letwin's whereabouts? But being the Labour Party, they spelt whereabouts wrong.
So, where has Haig succeeded where Prescott failed this week?
Well, he hasn't hit anyone.
But someone did throw an egg at Haig, but...
he avoided it.
That's right, and it hit a pensioner. And who's been helping Haig this week? He's been rallying to his defence. No end.
Oh, his dad. Which wasn't... His dad said that Haig would probably lose. Which is a bit mean of your own dad, really.
He didn't say... It wasn't quite that bad. He said it would be a miracle if he won. And Fion... We never quite know how to pronounce her name.
Well, why don't you find out, Ongu?
She sort of points out photo opportunities.
Right.
Yeah. So if they see a baby, this happens. Yeah.
Is that Haig on the right?
It looks like one baby trying to inflate another baby's head.
And the Lib Dems, we ought to mention them.
Well, they're the only party that said they're going to renationalise the railways. It's pretty sensible, isn't it?
Are you a Liberal Democrat?
No, that was Balance.
Oh, right. And so the most interesting part of Charles Kennedy's week, did you see this when he
Manifesto?
Yes, was that interesting in any way?
Not really.
No. But he did go to a nursery in Islington and read them a story.
Did he hit any children?
Brown bear, what do you see?
Oh, no.
I see a red bud looking at me.
Brilliant. Wow. He can babysit for me any time.
So this is the opposition party's attempts to steal a few